Pleasant morning to all. And today I have present my topic, the problems of poverty in India. And first, we see what do you mean by the poverty. Poverty is inability to get the minimum consumption requirements for life, health, and efficiency. And poverty is a state or condition in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essential for a minimum standard of living. And poverty means that the income level from employment is too low that basic human needs cannot be met. And next is types of poverty. There are the two important types of poverty. One is the absolute poverty and other one is relative poverty. And we can see one by one. The first one, absolute poverty. And poverty is keeping in view the economic condition of a country. It has been defined in the context of the per capita intake of calories and a minimum level of per capita consumption expenditure. And the next is the relative poverty. And poverty on the basis of the comparison of the per capita income from different countries. The countries whose per capita income is quite less in comparison to other countries is treated as the relatively poor nation. And that's all. These are also to be known as the types of poverty. The next is we can see the table, and the table can be explained only the comparison of per capita income in the year 2004 in different countries. There are the different countries here, that is the US, UK, Japan, China, India, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. All the countries is here. The per capita income is here. And this per capita income data, it's only the year 2024. And in India, the per capita income in 2024 is 1,84,000. And the world average of per capita income in these countries is 13,138 rupees. And next is the poverty line. And the poverty line is the line which indicates the purchasing power is required to satisfy the minimum level of the needs of a person. It represents the capacity to satisfy the minimum level of human needs. The purchasing power can be expressed in the form of the monthly consumption expenditure. And next is the poverty line divides the population into two groups, and one of those who have this purchasing power is more, and the other group of those people who do not have this much of purchasing power. And the former group is regarded as the above the poverty line, and the later it's below the poverty line. And next is the trends of poverty in India. And the first table we can see the number of poor person and their percentage in total population. And the year, the 2018, 20, 22, and 2024. And in the year 2018, the total number of poor population in India is 4.6%. In 2022 is 3.3%. In 2024 is 2.4%. And the next table we can see can be explained the rural urban comparison of the poor percentage of population in our country. In the year 2022, the rural poor population is 7.2%, and 2025 it's estimated 4.86%. And the urban is the same year, 2022 is 4.6%, and estimated at 2025 is 4.09%. And combined, the rural and urban poor population in our country in 2025 is estimated the 4.5%. And next is the international comparison. And the table can be explained, the international comparison of or the percentage of population as a below poverty line. Three countries is here, that is the India, Pakistan, and US. The percentage of total population is below poverty line as here. And next is the vicious circle of poverty. And which country has occurred the poverty in the economy, and that is leads to the low production, low income, low demand, lack of capital, low investment, and low production. So this is called known as the vicious circle of poverty. And next is the causes of poverty in India. The following are the causes or the reason for the poverty in India. We can see one by one. The first one, heavy pressure of population. The population has rise in India, rise in India is rapid rate. The rise in population is due to the fall in death rate and increasing birth rate in our economy. The heavy pressure of population, it is the main cause or the reason for the hinderness in the way of economic development. The next is unemployment and underemployment. Due to the continuous rise in population, there is the chronic unemployment and underemployment in India. Due to there is the educated unemployment and disguised unemployment, it's possible to our country. So the poverty is just the reflection of unemployment. The next is the capital deficiency. And capital is one of the 4 factors of production. Capital is low, that is leads to the capital output ratio are also low. But in India, the shortages of capital. But the capital is needed for setting up of the new industries, transport and other projects. The shortages of capital in India, it is the main cause of poverty. And next is underdeveloped economy. India is underdeveloped. It's due to the low rate of growth. The low rate of growth, it is the main cause of poverty. The next is increase in price. The steep rise in price has affected the poor people more, and they have become more poor. In the year 2020-21, the average rise in price is the 6.2%. The next is net national income. The net national income in India, it's quite less. It's a comparison of the size of population. The low per capita income, which proves that country, it's the poverty in our country. And in the per capita income in the year 2003 to 4 is rupees 20,989. That is which proves that India is one of the poorest nation. The next is rural economy. India, it's a rural economy because 75% of the population, it's live only in the rural areas. And the India, it's a rise in population that is leads to the low agricultural production, that is leads to the low income is possible to our agricultural side. Automatically, the poverty is increases. The next is lack of skilled labor. In India, the unskilled labor is an abundant, but the skilled labor is quite less due to the insufficient industrial education and training. The next is deficiency of efficient entrepreneurs. For industrial development, they need the efficient entrepreneurs. But in India, the shortages of the efficient entrepreneurs, for less industrial development, it is the main cause of poverty. The next is lack of proper industrialization. Industrially, India is a backward state, and only the 3% of population are engaged in the industrial side. So the industrial backwardness, it is the main cause of poverty. The next is low rate of growth. The low rate of growth that leads to the comparison of the size of population to our economy. The low rate of growth, it is the main cause of poverty. And that's all. These are also to be known as some of the causes or the reasons for the poverty in India. The next is the suggestion for the removal of poverty. There are some of the suggestion and measures for the removal of poverty in India. We can see one by one. The first one is development of agriculture. To eradicate poverty in India, the special effort should be made to develop the agriculture. The reason the agriculture production in our economy, that leads to the removal of the rural poverty to our country. So the agriculture must be mechanized and modernized. They have used the better seeds, chemical fertilizer, pesticides, and more irrigation facilities is provided. And the small farmers should be given more financial assistance. The next is increase in the production of goods for mass consumption. In rural and urban poor are benefited, that is leads to increase in industrial production. So the industries produce more consumption goods like cloth, vegetable, oil, sugar, soap and others, etc. That is leads to increase in industrial production and more supply is possible. More supply is more supply, that is leads to low price of these consumption goods. And so the poor people can afford to buy more goods. And next is the stability in price. To eradicate the poverty in India, the price level must be stabilized. The steep rise in price, the standard of living of the poor people is deteriorated. So to bring about the price stability in India, the investors should use the full production capacity, and there is no strikes and lockout as possible of industries, and the supply of raw material and electricity should be regulated in according to the needs of the industries. That is leads to the industrial production is increases and automatically the employment increases, the poverty are also to be reduces. The next is check on increase in population. The continuous rise in population, it is the main cause of poverty in India. And the control of population, it is possible. The government should take effort to introduce some of the publicity and awareness programs relating to the family planning program must be intensified. The next is increase in employment. To eliminate poverty in India, the employment opportunities increases in both rural and urban areas. And the multiple cropping program is introduced in the rural areas, automatically the rural unemployment problem is eliminated. And others like the introduction of the cottage industries and construction work in the rural areas, automatically the rural employment is increases and the employment opportunities are also increases. And next is in urban areas, the employment is increases. It's due to the establishment of the number of small scale industries and transport system. Automatically, the employment is increases in rural areas. So the government should aims to provide self-employment opportunities to the poor section of the people. The next is change in the techniques of production. There are the two important techniques of production. One is the capital intensive techniques and other one is the labor intensive techniques. All the developed countries should be introduced only in capital intensive techniques because that country it leads to the more capital and less labor. So that country can be introduced only on the capital intensive techniques. But our country, it's the opposite direction because our country is basically the overpopulated economy. So if it is used only for the labor intensive techniques. And what's the problem? And if it is used only for the intermediate technology, the midway between the capital intensive and the labor intensive technology can be established to our economy. Automatically, the employment opportunities is increases and that is leads to the poverty are also removed. The next is the reduction in inequality of income and wealth. And the poverty is raised. That is the main problem is inequality of income and wealth. The wealth should be concentrated only on the few rich people. That is the main cause of the poverty in our economy. So the government should perceiving in accordance with the establishment of the fiscal and the licensing policies. And the more taxes should be imposed on the rich people, the government should generate more income and that income can be spent or to be utilized only by the poor section of the people. And that's all. These are also to be known as some of the suggestions and measures for the removal of poverty in India. And that's all. These are also to be known as the problems of poverty in India. And thank you for your patient listening. And finally, I thank Madam Principal and Revered Ambas for giving me this excellent opportunity. Thank you one and all, and thank you.